Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the 2022 Scrabble Players Championship. I'm Morris Greenberg, and I'm here with Annette Oberstad and Chloe Fatsis.
Yeah,
We
welcome
have
back,
quite the
everyone.
matchup here.
Yeah, I feel like I should have said something to one of y'all. We do have a treat here. Even though they both lost last round, Will and Josh, who had slow starts, were climbing back up, and we thought, you know what? How often will we get our two of our favorite Scrabble streamers playing each other and streamable, not by their own volition. So
Hmm.
we're bringing that to you. Uh, I, yeah, I don't know if we have more Will stands or Josh stands. I feel like Will gets a lot of stands, but Chloe, are you a Will stand or a Josh stand?
Oh man, how can you choose?
Exactly, you
I mean,
can't. I'm just
Will is the
excited.
original Scrabble streamer, or maybe not original, but our first successful Scrabble streamer. So he's done a lot, but so has Josh. They've both been huge assets to the Scrabble community recently, and very indebted to their work on Twitch.
Oh wow, no, we didn't mean to say Benji is not one of the
Oh,
best
okay,
Scrabble
my
streamers too.
apologies.
But no, yeah, and to be fair, Benji has the Collins dictionary. I guess Will also has the Collins. Will has all the dictionaries. Will's being selfish with his dictionaries. But in NWL, at least, this is as close to the most streamable matchup as we have.
Yeah, this is not a
I
matchup that I was expecting to see really at all because I mean usually Will plays CSW, so these guys will never be matched up. It just happened that he decided to play in this dictionary this time, which is great for us.
yeah, and thank
Yeah,
you.
super impressive how. Oh, I was
Oh, I
gonna
was
say
just
super
gonna.
impressive how he. Oh, how he keeps the dictionary separated between tournaments and he just switch back and forth. With like a month's preparation or maybe not even that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how he does it. It's very impressive. I could never.
Yeah, though I will say, when we did see Will streamed earlier on, he was, I think, even though he didn't have dictionary confusion and word knowledge, I feel like he was making some Collinsy types of strategy decisions rather
Mm,
than NWL ones. He was definitely playing more open, and he got burned once or twice in
mm-hmm.
positions where I think if he was playing NWL, he wouldn't naturally gravitate to those choices. So we'll see if he's adjusted at all.
Mm-hmm.
You definitely can adjust after uh, 18 games of Scrabble.
Mm-hmm.
So I would play Zip in this situation, though I feel like Zip and Zori's both are options. Annette, what's your instinct?
I would probably play Zori's here just because it scores so well, and PA is a pretty good lead.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
It's so hard to turn down the points. I mean, I'm usually a pretty defensive player too, so Zip was definitely the first thing I saw, but then I was like, you know what? Source is just so many
Mm-hmm.
points.
Yeah, it's like a 20-point sacrifice.
Yeah,
I would definitely consider Zip because yeah, S's are really nice and Zip would set up your S. But I think the 20 points might just make it worth it.
yeah.
yeah, some people in the chat are saying go for the points too. So
And certainly
between
if Will knew what Josh had, he would always play Zori's.
Yeah.
yeah, fair. Although he is giving Josh comic, which I think bails him
Right.
out in a big way. Even though it's not a great play, it got rid of a lot of the clunk, and Josh could get some good stuff still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will did not get a very good draw after his opening play there.
No, he did not. Um, yeah, I might play something like PAUA on top of Zori's. Just
Yeah,
sort
that
of
looks pretty strong.
cleaning up that rack a bit.
I like that.
And it's also always nice making those sort of plays when you know the Z's already been played, so you're not setting up a massive Z bomb on top of the second A in Power for the triple
Exactly.
underscore.
Yeah, I can't even see any decent options that are even close to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is sort of a tale of two racks. Will has all the vowels, Josh has all the consonants. It can happen. I
Yeah.
mean, there's roughly even of both. So if you're drawing more vowels, for the other person, it will be more consonants heavy.
Yeah, that's usually how it is.
But also, apology before I kept saying Benji. I forgot. And thanks to Bill, big fan of Will in the chat for pointing this out. He goes by Ben now, so we love Ben as a streamer too. I will say, I will show my allegiance Stan wise. I feel like I love watching Will content. Josh is good too, but like, sign me up for Will content any day of the week.
See, I think I'm the opposite, but only because Will mostly streams CSW, and I don't like to watch that. But whenever he's, streaming on the Scrabble channel, I always tune in.
Yeah, and Will, of course, works for Scopely now, which is Scrabble Go is sponsoring our live stream. Scopely is the parent company of Scrabble Go. So Will has really, in the past year or so, become a real ambassador of the game to lower level players too, and has really tried to think about how to make Scrabble accessible to a lot of different audiences. So he has played Powa. I think, as we all said, it seemed like the natural play here. And it will give Josh a spot, but as Chloe said, the Z is not a threat, which is the scariest of all the tiles that can go above that A.
It seems
and it looks like Josh is...
He has a pretty standard play here of just playing wigged.
Yep. Scores a ton of points.
Gets rid of all of the bad.
Into the game.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, and Will is instantly bingoing back with Dreamily, I think. Is that what that is? Or Dreamier? No, Dreamier, sorry.
It's blurry. Dreamier. Yeah.
Dreamier. Yeah.
Yeah, and that will give Will a commanding lead. It was basically a tie game before. Will now takes a 90-point lead as the score gets updated in the stream.
Looks like Josh will have some good comeback plays making jaw. He has JEUX, or he could keep the X and play JEHU or JUT. So lots of options to score, almost a bingo.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I would play off the X here and play JUX, or if I would play something like jaw, maybe? With jaw?
Yeah. You could even play JEU setting up the X. It's not the best because there's not
it doesn't really put it on a scoring tile,
X, but it's worth considering, I guess.
Yeah, that's a really cool idea. I always try to look for those things. I mean, is there any reason why we'd prefer the X on this board to something like the H? Just because Jehu is also a word and scores only 4 fewer points.
I think...
No, that's not right.
I think I like his decision here to play off the X.
Yeah.
Because you are looking
when you're
to bingo.
Down, you want to bingo when you're down. So it brings him close. He brings him with him 27 points, keeping HST, which goes together really nicely. Those are all really synergistic tiles. So, I think Josh made a good call here.
Yeah, I think if there had been like better scoring spots for the X, you could consider keeping it, but on this board, there really isn't.
Yeah, HST as 3 tile consonants goes. That's a pretty synergistic one. We can see.
Oh, and he got a really good draw as well.
Yeah, that is an amazing draw. Will is not having as good of a did not have as good of a draw, and I guess he either has to decide if he wants to dump his Q for. I think he can only score 11 with it here.
He could play Quag through the UG. Juice, but that's not. I mean, it's not great.
Yeah.
I mean, you could definitely consider exchanging too.
Yeah, I think GELEE from the G in Wig looks fine. It's not very inspiring. Only scores 12 points.
But I think if you're going to play through this rack, you want to play off as many tiles as possible and try to draw into a key play.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say, I feel like exchanging might be the way to go here, just because even though GELEE is 12 points and gets rid of a lot of the clunk, the Q really doesn't have anywhere to go on this board, even with drawing the right tiles. Maybe I guess a D would be the one tile to make Kadi off the I in Comic. But often when you're
Right.
keeping the Q in these sorts of situations, you want to at least have the potential to score with it, and there really isn't that potential here at all.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
exchanging is probably what I would end up doing.
Yeah, with something like GELEE, you just dig yourself into a hole for the next couple turns of probably scoring like 10, 12 points this turn, and then maybe 20 the next turn. But it would be pretty tough. So yeah, I think exchanging makes sense long term.
So I think he's at this point separate out the E and the L or the A, E, and L because he's deciding between which of those two leaves he's going to keep. I know in general, if you have a lot of vowels, the bag will be more consonant heavy in general. And it looks like after plays like Wigged, Zori's, Comic, all of these used more consonants than vowels. So I think Will is deducing that the bag might be a bit consonant heavy as he keeps AEL as a lead.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
I really
seems
like
fine.
AEL. I think that's the right exchange.
Now the question is, which bingo is Josh going to play?
Yeah, so he has set up adhibits at certain points in the past few minutes. The crazy word is
Oh my
disconnected
God.
9.
Wow.
Diathesis is an option through the E in Ja and the I in Wigged. I mean, I'm never going to find that. I just see that this is the engine right now.
Wow, so I actually saw the only bingo that he has playable that he'll probably see. Oh, actually, Jihadist. Yeah, that's the one that I saw. I guess there's, that too, but apparently not playing a bingo is better than playing
I know.
adhibits.
Yeah. Josh is someone who really likes to go through and take his time to make sure he's not missing a bingo, especially with the blank. So I imagine he'll take a couple minutes looking to the R and the E and some of the other letters in Dreamier to make sure he's not missing a better bingo, because with this rack, you would probably think that there's something that'll score a little more than adhibits or jihadists here.
Yeah, I would certainly spend some time on this rack.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I think non-bingos here are still really good. The H can score well on this board alone, and it's not that far of a game score-wise from Josh's hands, just because Will did exchange last turn. Adhibits, I think he might surpass that to not play a bingo at all here. In the meantime, Will did draw some consonants, so he drew not KNOT to his AEL leave, so definitely improved his situation a lot.
Yeah, that's a pretty decent draw.
Yeah.
Not seeing any bingos with it, but you're pretty close.
Yeah, I think he should be able to score decently. I see, I'm sure there's something, and keep a good leave. Hopefully bingo the next turn.
Yeah, so Cesar in the chat said this stinks. Are both of them pretty much out of contention now? Potentially, although given that the top two players advanced to the finals here, and Ori is in second, who only has 13 wins, there's still a lot of games left for, right? If either of these players wins out, they're almost definitely going to be one of the finalists, and even if they drop a game or two, it's still very possible. So, these players, I mean, you always want to play your best, but they're still very much thinking that they could be the national champion at the end, or the Scrabble Player Champion, I should say, at the end of this week.
Yeah, there's still a lot of Scrabble left to be played.
Yeah, and we saw in Chicago a couple of weeks ago that Will had a bad start and then did really well and came back to finish in third. So not quite winning that Collins division there, but going pretty close.
I mean, that was a great comeback considering the first day that he had.
Yeah, so Cesar, I feel like is kind of trolling us right now. Why pair our two most prominent streamers against each other instead of against noobs? We need them to face off in the finals. We can all dream, but unfortunately, or probably fortunately in reality, we use the Swiss pairing systems in tournaments, which bases your results off of bases the pairings off of your results. So top players all play each other, and that's just so we don't have lopsided results where
Hmm.
someone keeps playing players that clearly shouldn't be in a division or clearly are towards the bottom of a division and aren't actually showing the most skill against players of similar caliber.
Hmm.
Will also looked to camera for a brief second, and I thought he was just piercing into our eyes, like he knew we were talking about him. I mean, yeah, Will, we are talking about you right now, but only the good stuff.
I feel like these are the kind of racks that I'm used to Josh taking a while on.
Yeah, with a blank, he really likes to go through the alphabet and make sure he's not missing anything that blank could be for a bingo.
Yeah, I mean, it is really like I think an underrated skill as an expert is how to budget your time. We have 25 minutes a game, and knowing when to take the time and use it on your most pivotal turns really is a skill set that I think I've never really quite gotten down perfectly. I feel
Yeah.
like always in a tournament, even when I feel like I'm pacing myself well, there'll be a game where I have too little time to solve a situation, and there'll be a game where I'm analyzing it after. I'm like, I played too quickly there. I
Yeah,
missed
totally.
3 big plays. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I feel a lot of the time I'll spend way too long on racks that really don't warrant it in spots where like none of my plays are very good. Instead of just picking one of the bad plays, I'll just spend forever trying to find something better.
Yep. Yeah, it's funny that someone in chat said Will probably, or he knows Sokol has a bingo. Because yeah, they've played. Will and Josh are good friends and have, I'm sure, played many games of Scrabble. So Will probably knows what's coming or what Josh is thinking here.
yeah, and that's a good point. So Josh, I think of basically anyone in this tournament plays maybe the most live games. I feel like I always see him posting games that he's playing against people. He and Jackson Smiley, who we saw earlier on in the tournament, as it looks like Josh did find Jihadist. Really nice find. It's hard to look for blank Jays, but he and Jackson Smiley just whenever they go to a new city, they just find a coffee shop or somewhere where they can play and just play a bunch of games. And I think that allows for you really organically to hone your skill set as a Scrabble player. And I think it's a really cool way if you know of another player who has a similar skill level to you and you both want to get better, just start playing a lot in cool locations in the city you live.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm very lucky to have a very blooming Scrabble club here in Vegas with a lot of really good players. So I get to play people of my own skill level a lot of the time, and even players that are better than me.
Yeah, that's great. That's the best practice, just playing lots of live games.
It really is.
Yeah. Looks like Will has one standout option of ketone to the E in Dreamier, Ketone, scoring 40 points.
Yep,
I imagine
a nice
he'll see
option.
that word.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't think he's seen it yet. I saw him arrange to Cantil at a different point, Kntele.
Okay.
So while Josh was looking for bingos, so I'm not sure he's seen Keto. Oh well, he's
He
arranged
might just
it.
be looking for a play down
Yeah,
from the D.
now he sees it. Yeah.
Yeah, so
And
maybe he saw it and trolled us or something for a while. Yeah, but Jihadist again, like really good board vision there.
Yeah, that's a
We've
great
seen,
play, making the blank a J.
yeah, and Will does find ketone, so good for Will. I'm sorry I ever doubted you, Will. He'll always find ketone.
So there's not a whole lot Josh can do about that spot right now without burning his S, which I don't think he wants to do.
Yeah. So the S, I mean, it goes under comic. He could play, like Watts or something, making comics for a bunch of points.
That's an option if he wants to burn the S.
Would you prefer Watts or wants there? Just given that there are 4 ends out from Josh's perspective.
Wants then.
I think I would still do Watts. D and T have really bad I would play Watts. D and T have really bad synergy, so keeping DT as opposed to ND, which go really nicely together. I think that puts Watts over the edge, despite there being 2 more ends left.
Yeah, and lucky for him, Will does have 2 of those ends, so I think it should hopefully work out fine for him. But yeah, these are the nuanced
he did
decisions.
draw 2 more. He did draw 2 others.
Wow.
Yeah, we're very prescient in the commentary. We always anticipate with the terrible things people draw. And to be fair, it's only when they don't take Matt Canic's advice of just draw well, and then you're fine. But Josh is making the bad strategic decision, according to Matt, of drawing poorly.
Yeah, he obviously has not been watching the stream. Like, he should know this by now.
Yeah, he should be watching the stream.
This is not how you win Scrabble tournaments.
Yeah, like, what is he doing playing his games out and thinking card? He should play as quickly as possible, watch the stream to get our good advice, and then come back and play.
Maybe one day he'll learn.
In the meantime, the chat has found nounal, which is a very nice idea below the K and the E in ketone.
Yep, that is not a word that I knew.
Yeah, outlaw is also in the cards.
Yeah, I think when you can get rid of, or when you cannot keep 2 of the same tile, it's generally a good idea to do so. Even though he will be getting rid of both of his ends, I think, nounal makes sense.
Yeah, I like that. I think I like that more than outlaw.
Yeah. It also sets up a slight bingo lane on the 14 row, which will be helpful because Will is at somewhat of a deficit. Yeah, I mean, he's at a deficit to Josh. So it's nice to keep some options or set up some options to be able to bingo, even though he doesn't need a whole bingo to come back. Josh can probably keep scoring in Will's mind, so he wants to give himself more options.
Yeah, the problem with that, though, playing under ketone is that after that play and Will plays down from the W, this board is pretty dead. Or Josh, I mean.
That's true.
It's pretty tough to open after that. So maybe playing outlaw and then creating a lane to access the top left of the board might be better.
Yeah, it's really tough. And I was curious what Will was going to do there, partially because, I feel like earlier in the tournament when he was kind of opening things a lot, I wonder if he would have played outlaw there. Nounal is a better play in pure value just because keeping the double ends with so many ends unseen from his perspective. Yeah,
because now we're probably going to see wind come down from Josh.
Right, yeah.
And then what?
Yeah, wind I think should have some front hooks or front extensions available. Headwind I think probably is a word. Tailwind should be as well. So if wind does come down, Josh is definitely the type of player to think about those sorts of extensions because he knows he'll look for them and will know them.
Yeah.
And so wind does come down. Overwind could be played as well. Someone points out in the chat. So it's a good idea, kind of the natural play that scores and doesn't keep terrible tiles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it will be interesting to see how Will tries to shape the board as he is down a bit more than just the tempo at this point.
Yeah, he could try to open here playing something like Brooks to the X. That does keep the Y though, which isn't great, but it does start to open the board at least.
Yeah, I'm also looking at buy below the ETO in ketone, just because it scores so much.
Yeah, that's a better leave, for sure.
Right.
Yeah,
yeah,
and
there
obey
is,
actually even.
Oh, wow, yeah.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
Keeping TE does leave the slight chance of bingoing on the B column with an ATE bingo parallel to wind. Not that it's not the best bingo lane, but he has a shot to either bingo or play something in that spot and just open up that left side of the board a little more again.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was a really pivotal play for Will. I mean, scoring 42 there now basically makes it a tempo game instead of a tempo plus more. And for those unfamiliar, all we mean by when we say tempo is it's going to be a tie score whenever it's Will's turn. And so Josh will have a first mover advantage, basically, if they kind of keep trading similar scoring amounts. But it definitely opens more flexibility for Will in more ways he can win than if he was down by more than tempo. Because now Josh can't exchange, for instance, easily, because then he'd give up the tempo advantage.
Yeah. And this is going to slow him down a little bit too now, having drawn the Q.
Yeah, so Quag is definitely an option through the U in Ja and the G in Wigged.
That is kind of nice because it keeps the I that goes next to the Q and can maybe draw into a next play next turn.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, it's also nice and proactive about preventing plays on top of JEUX from Will that can open things up more. So he sort of locks himself into this being up a tempo, even though it doesn't score very well. Yeah. It'll only put him up, 10 points. But
so he just drops the Q for 11 here.
Yeah, he elected for the higher scoring play. Probably a good idea.
Oh wait, how much did you score for that?
Oh, it was 21.
21.
Yeah,
21.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I missed that spot at first.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, me as well.
Yeah, then here comes the X play.
Yeah, and that seems very good.
Yeah. So it will be interesting. I mean, the bottom of the board, as we've been saying, is pretty exhausted, at least from a bingoing perspective. You might be able to score some plays. A play like Lurex can open up the top of the board. A QI could imply
a nice bingo find here from Josh.
Yeah, Nirvana's. Wow.
Oh, wow.
Great
yeah, that is huge. Yeah, very nice.
But that does go to a completely different side of the board. So Will definitely has time to make an in-between play to either score a bit, get rid of a few key tiles if he wants to go for the bingo. Obviously, you don't want your opponent to bingo, but bingoing through the A there instead of through one of the 3 tiles that Will just open is sort of a best-case scenario among bingo turns.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and Will has a somewhat bingo-friendly rack, but nothing in it. He has these low-scoring bingo tiles, but I don't think there's any bingo that plays. So I wonder if he'll have to, I think playing parallel to Nirvana on the triple will probably be his highest scoring option, but it is always, a lot of those plays will keep a bingo lane open on the right side of Nirvana's, which is nice that he's not closing down all those options.
Yeah,
on the left, even if he does.
Well, we can see Josh has over Hoy, but there's an L on the board to make over Holy.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
So
that's big.
The chat has found that. Great job, chat.
I doubt that spot will get taken.
Yeah, and for those wondering what the definition of over Holy is, we just looked it up. It means too holy. So thank you, bot. But yeah, I as Annette said, it's unlikely Will's going to take that spot. You wouldn't want to block that side of the board when you're down by 60. And yeah, if Josh is able to get down over Holy, I guess it somewhat depends what Will keeps and what he draws. But given that if we're looking at the unseen pool, the V and the Y are 2 of the highest scoring tiles left in the game as Will plays delayed. I think Josh will be likely to win this one once over Holy comes down.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to overcome that.
There's still a blank out, so maybe Will played a few more tiles there to go for the blank. But this bingo will put Josh up, I think, more than 100. So it'll be a tough deficit to overcome.
Yeah, so we'll see what Will pulls with his L here as Josh plays over Holy. I think Will isn't even holding the play, which shows you how deep his word knowledge is. but that does leave one tile in the bag for Josh to pull. So this is actually an endgame situation. Will might be able to bingo out here, actually, as he picks up folding, which will play to the O in Overholy. So I'm guessing that will come down unless there's... Oh, wait, did I misread that?
Fooling.
Fooling. Okay. I quickly looked at the stream and thought an O was a D. Classic streamer problems. Goofily, actually, is the high-scoring one, and he might be able to find that as well. So he plays Goofily. Great find by Will. And I think that Will... so sorry, I misspoke. I misread it. So Josh has 7. Will pick up the last tile in the bag. If it was the end of the game, Will would have won there. But I think with a counterplay that Josh can have here, he will win the game.
Yeah, he has a pretty decent rack to be able to play off a lot of letters and score some points.
Yeah.
Yeah, so beef through wigged is a nice scoring play, but really any valid play will win the game.
Right.
Yeah.
Which, I've figured out ways to blow games in every way, shape, and form before. I definitely have blown a game from challenging a valid play and losing my turn.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've done it this way via playing a phony word, although I've heard horror stories from it.
Yeah, so have I. And I'm seeing in chat that Michael Fagan just beat Joey Krafchick by 175.
Wow.
So he's in first place now.
That's a huge win.
He's on a roll. Yeah, that is a huge win.
So we'll see this game wrap up, but Josh will stay in contention, though. Michael, he'll only be, I think, 2 games back, 1 or 2 games back from the field now, depending on how Ori did. Oh, I guess actually Michael Fagan was also at 13, so he'll be 2 games back from the top 2 people. Will basically have to win out, I think, or win maybe all but 1 game if he is going to get one of the top 2 spots, which don't count Will out. If anyone can do it, we have seen Will do it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
So Josh goes for be fit, looks pretty good.
Yep.
Yeah. Just any valid word. And Will go out, I'm sure, pretty soon.
Will. That was some love for the Twitch audience at home, I think.
Very cool.
Yeah, that was for the content.
Yeah, in the chat, maybe everyone can post. I like Nirvanace as a word, although I still don't think that would be enough. But yeah, if you want to say your favorite phony that Will could play here, go for it.
Probably the one he just tried.
Yeah,
that's the highest scoring one.
Yeah.
Yeah, too bad EV isn't a word, because Goofally is a great find.
Yeah.
Josh knows his twos. He's been studying recently, so he's going to get past Josh.
And there it is. He does not try a phony outplay.
So final score of 468 to 432. Both played really well here. I don't think we had a single criticism. Right? The only mistake, quote unquote, was not finding diathesis, which, come on.
You can't even call that a mistake.
That is a pretty tough find.
Yeah, and so it just happened to be Josh
I guess
hit
from
back
both
to back.
perspectives. Yeah, you could debate Zori's versus Zip on the first turn, but I think those are pretty close either way, and it's just
I don't think it would have changed the ending of this game.
Yeah, so we'll see if Josh can continue to win and stay in contention, or if Will goes on a tear to really get himself back in contention. He started off not great. We saw it on stream. Basically, we shouldn't show Will on stream if we have Will stands here because he's lost every game on stream, I think. So if you don't see Will on stream, that might be he's doing really well.
Yeah, I think we'll both, all of us will be rooting for both of them moving forward.
Yeah, for sure.
So in the meantime, though, we're going to take a short break before our final game of the day. I think we're going to see Joey Kraftchick and Ori Swift, who we've seen both of earlier today. It will be fun to see the two of them against each other.
Yeah, that would be great to actually watch a full game of Ori playing.
Yeah. Although we don't throw shade
at
our production team. We love
no, of course
team.
not. That was just unlucky that happened.
Yeah, I threw some love to all of our sponsors in the chat. Also, two other reminders: if you want to check out the live coverage page, I just threw a link. And also, if you want to get involved and play Scrabble in tournaments and such, if you want to play Overholy, Goofly, all these cool plays, go to the link we just sent. We'll take a short break, though. Stay tuned.